Hello, welcome again to the Aerospace Archives. We return as always, and let's jump right in. So with DML, yesterday we tested out the robots some. We had pretty much the entire lab period to do so, like I had predicted. We got the thing built together, wired up pretty quickly. We got the most testing time out of our lab section by a long shot, and probably more testing time than 90% of all the groups across every lab section. We were testing pretty much the entire time, which was the most beneficial part of that was that we got first dibs on all of the testing equipment. So like the ramps, the bottles, the tennis balls, buckets, and we got to pick wherever in the lab to start. So we picked over in a large open space where we kind of spec'd out to like the size we'll actually be competing in to do our testing. And we did that for quite a while, and we got our time down from like 3.5 minutes to, what was it? 1 minute and 9 seconds was our top speed. And that really was just due to us getting more experience with, how to maneuver the bot, what route to take, and figuring out how to aim and such. We went from picking up all 3 buckets and pick up a bucket, load the balls, put the bucket back down, do that 3 times, then go and, first couple times shooting, it was a little difficult to get it down, aiming it right. But by the end, we decided to only pick up 2 buckets and then not even put the second one back down, but to just hold on to it to save time. And then just pew, 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 aiming and firing pretty quickly on the range. So we trimmed a lot of time off, and we are easily within the top 5 times with 109. Like, I don't know how everyone else is doing, but just generally, from what our TA said, from what he's seen in the other lab sections, and just the looks on other teams' faces, we've got a good shot at being in the top 5 times, I think, for sure. If we can recreate what we had, I think we've got a good chance. I don't think anyone can do it in under a minute, because we were like blazing as we were, but maybe we did it in 109. Maybe if there's one of those teams with the laser pointer to aim with, that's potentially sub-minute material, but not many teams had that, I don't think. And even if they did, they'd have to go at a pretty quick pace through the rest of the course. And given that you've only got so many shots to knock over the bottles, I feel like a lot of teams are probably going to go for all 3 buckets. I'm thinking we might want to go for all 3 on our first run just to have the safety, but our accuracy's been pretty good so far. So we may only go for 2 buckets, one with 3 tennis balls, one with 4. So we've got 2 mulligan shots, which we can do pretty well with. I think if we're in the zone, we can knock over all 5 with the 7 balls. And then for the second round, we'll go with just the 2 buckets of 3, which are next to each other, which take even less time to grab. And then try and do even quicker firing with that, just to show off. Maybe knock over the other bucket just on purpose as a power move, just to really drive home that we're the best. Because I think we are, at least in our lab section. We got the most testing time by far. Some people were still like throwing their bot together an hour into the lab. I feel bad for them. They hardly got to test, especially since all the other groups had taken all of the space in the lab and materials to test with. But that's how DML is going. I'm really looking forward to competition day. I think it's going to be good. I think we're going to do a great job. All right, moving on. Materials. It's getting weird. We have another paper due next Friday. The professor hasn't mentioned it at all yet, which is weird because for the second paper, she'd been talking about it for like 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time. But now the third one, it's due in a week, and we have heard nothing about it. So I don't know what to do with that. I'll end up doing that at some point next week, probably Tuesday, Wednesday-ish. But I have to start studying for the DML final, because if I get less than a 60, then I fail and I have to take the class all over again, despite all my progress. Which is fantastic, but I think I can manage at least a 60, But materials, yeah, so there's that. There's an in-class assessment open notes and stuff on next Friday as well, and then we have like a phase diagram assessment of some sort, also open note and junk Monday. Apparently the class, it's moving entirely to out of class style stuff, or less in class stuff, something, because this is around the time where people have to start moving out. And then there's like a week gap between when leases end, and most leases end, and when most leases start. So there's a gap where people don't really have a place to be, and they're moving, and it's busy. So she's like, yeah, I'm gonna fiddle with due dates and assessments, so you don't have to spend a whole lot of time outside of class doing this or that. You just come here and use your notes or whatever. I'm like, okay, I don't have to do with that, but all right, nice, cool, thank you. So materials is okay, bit of homework to do, but I'll get that done. Theater, same things ever. I wrote the second paper yesterday. It took me about only 2 hours. Just ground that out somehow. I managed to write a paper on a play I saw a week ago. Got that in, and then it's just more of the same thing. 2 quizzes a week, post discussions, whatever. Standard, nothing too bad there. So all in all, not bad. Theater is okay, materials is alright, almost done with that, and DML very close to the end, and I honestly think we're going to do a really good job in that competition. I think we're going to knock the socks off of some people, and I can't wait. Because if we do well, our team gets all the rankings are put on the class website. So you can see the results of every competition for the past 15 years on that website. So we will be immortalized if we do well enough. We will be immortalized on that chart on the website for the rest of time. Or, so long as the class exists. I don't know. But that's just, 5 years from now I can go back, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, I can go back and tell my kids, hey, look what your dad did. And they're like, Dad, shut up, that's dumb. Your new hollow brain is acting up again. Like, there go with my hollow brain, because we're going to have hollow brains in the future, I guess. Alright, so I've rambled on enough about robots and theater. So next week, I'll tell you the results of the competition, I guess. That's gonna be what I talk about. Oh my gosh. It'll either be a great success or a terrible failure. So let's look forward to that. Alright? Let's look forward to that. And until then, until we've competed, until we have the results, and until I can know more about my stupid materials paper, welcome to my world.